Josiah, first things first, welcome back.
Thank you. Welcome back to you as well.
Oh, thank you. We were kind of forced to take a little bit of hiatus, a little bit of a break there for a while, for a variety of reasons, I feel like.
Yeah, you started a new job. I moved around like 300 times, but we're here. We're here.
Yeah, we're here. Yeah, there was some sickness. I had a bad cough for a while. It just...
I died. It was bad.
Josiah died for a little bit. Yeah, it's this whole thing. But we are back with... I don't even remember what episode this is. Is this 7 or 8?
Just matters that we're going. I really don't know. It's been a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Cool. Well...
I do remember you lost the last episode, though.
Yeah, I did. I come to the podcast now seeking advice on the punishment. So if you're new around here, first of all, welcome. Happy to have you. This is a competitive podcast, so one of us is a loser every episode, and the loser does a punishment. My punishment for losing the last episode was I had to get accepted to a university. So essentially the punishment is apply to colleges until you get into one, and then, you can just kind of ghost them or tell them it was all a hilarious prank or whatever.
Sure.
So, to catch you up with what I've done so far, it has not been very much, but I was not expecting it to go this way. First thing I do, I Google free 4-year universities to apply for, and then I find one, and then I Google easiest universities to get into, and I get that list, and then I kind of compare and contrast, and I find the one that is free to apply for and also pretty likely to get into. So the one I applied for, it's been a bit, I think it's called it's Baker University or Baker's University.
Okay.
Let me scroll through my email here while I'm talking. Yeah, Baker University, which is, I don't even know where that is.
So it sounds like they're not doing a great job at recruiting you or trying to get you to actually go there.
They're not. That's why I need advice. So it's out of Kansas. And I applied and I sent it in, and it says it's like a 99% accept rate. But since I applied, and I applied a little less than a month ago, I have not heard back. So the question I have, I know, how ridiculous is that? So my question, what I need advice on is, do I just wait? This feels like maybe it's going to be a slow burn punishment. Like, do I just wait until I hear back from this one, or do I just move on, assuming I got ghosted, and apply to another one? What do you think?
I would say maybe apply to one more, and then if you don't hear back, I'm fine. Yeah, I mean, maybe one day, maybe there's just like a guy in the admissions office, and he's just been busy.
He's just the one guy there. Yeah. I don't know a single thing about the university I applied for other than the name, and apparently even that I was fuzzy on. But
if you get in, you should get like some merch or something. Like, go
I should buy
Eagles.
Go Baker Cooks Chefs. Yeah. I did. It was a pretty easy application. It did require that I put in like my social security and stuff.
Oh, really?
Just I was like, this is kind of silly, but that's okay. And then what's interesting is I already have a degree, my undergraduate, and I feel like that might work against me in this case, because what university is going to be like, aren't you already graduated? Why do you want to come back? So I did check a little box that was like, already graduated, just looking to take some extra classes.
Okay, sure.
So maybe I'm at like the bottom of the priority list.
Yeah, you just don't like marketing anymore. Did you put like another degree that you're looking for?
No, they didn't even ask. It was it's been a unique situation so far.
Okay,
so there's just like
There's like, we want your social security number, maybe some payment info, mom's maiden name, home address. Like,
now that I'm thinking about it, could someone confirm that this is a real university before I go any further?
Well, Kansas isn't even a real state, I don't think.
Yeah. Where's that? So all that to say, the punishment thus far has been waiting, and I've never been rejected from a college before.
That might be the punishment in itself.
Yeah, I think I would be, as someone in my mid-20s, I think I'd be a little upset if they didn't accept me.
Be one of the 0.05% that don't get in?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very fun, which is kind of perfect for a punishment.
Yeah. So all that to say, my punishment with this last episode is not over yet, and I'm thinking I might just have to keep working at it for a while.
Okay.
But
we'll
make
I'm
it
excited
happen.
To see you get to college. I'll be there at graduation if you end up going.
It would be fun. You're right. I should totally buy a hat. I'll look into their bookstore and see because that'd be hilarious. And then when people ask me about it, I just be like, "Oh yeah, it's just a college I got accepted into. Pretty cool." Not going.
I don't really know where it is or.
Yeah, just excited for the opportunity. Also, if you're listening to this and you go to Baker University, I hope it's good there.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
looking forward to meeting you.
They could help us out. They could help us out and get your paperwork looked at or pulled out of the trash or whatever happened to it.
If you could expedite things for me, I'd be very grateful.
I think it'll be, this punishment still sounds not nearly as bad as today's punishment, which we'll talk about at the end, but it's going to be a rough one, this next one.
I'm excited. Not because I want to do it, but because I think it's really funny.
It'll be rough.
And it's the type of punishment that is very specific to us, because some people will enjoy this one.
It might be a joy to some. Yeah, not to me, not to you.
Yeah, but both of us, no way, Jose. Not going to be
I guess
great.
we'll find out. Yeah. Since I went first, since I won. Give me a goofball. I haven't goofed in a while.
Okay.
Since I won last time, jeez, it's been a while. Since I won last time, I'm going to go first. Did you pick a goof?
Yeah. If you're new here, we do goofs so that we don't have to edit the podcast. Your goof,
not to.
Yeah. Your goof is close one eye for 5 minutes. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
So I'm looking at the timer. We've been recording for about 8 minutes. I'll let you know when you can open.
Go. Okay. Okay. It's closed.
Thank you. Thank you to whoever wrote that one in. That is awesome. Okay, go first, Josiah.
Still read my notes.
Yeah.
Okay. My first question. Do you have a Costco membership?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah?
It's mostly Mallory, but I have a card and I keep it with me because I think it's cool.
Yeah. How often do you go?
Very rarely. My eye doctor is in there, so I go to that once every 3 years. And then I'll go to the food court, and on rare occasion, I'll actually shop.
Okay. Okay. So you're probably not their target market.
No, I'm not I am their food court target market. That's for sure.
They're just you're just sucking them dry with their hot dog deal. Okay. So what do you think about Costco? What are your thoughts?
Oh, how much time you got? Well, I do have opinions. Mallory gets tired of hearing about them.
Oh, I would love to hear them.
I just think it's grocery stores in general, but for whatever reason, Costco is worse. Everyone is so rushed, and you're just dealing with people at their worst. And I don't like that. Like, no one's being selfless. Everyone's just like, I need to be faster. I need to get to this first. And everyone's rushed, and it's all about, getting ahead, getting through there fast. No one talk to each other. No one enjoy it. Just get in, get your stuff, and get out. And I don't really like that.
Sure, but, too rushed, chaotic.
Yeah. From a business standpoint, yeah, I think it's great. I really appreciate that they accept losing money in their food court every year.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah. I guess maybe I don't have that many opinions.
Okay, you just don't like the shopping experience of it being rushed and it's like a competition. You want it to kind of be relaxed, meander a little bit.
Exactly. I think ours is smaller too, and serves a large group of people. So it's just also kind of crammed in there.
Sure.
And there are salespeople just trying to get you. Yeah, it's a lot.
Okay, great. Now that I know that you don't really like Costco, my topic today is Costco.
Yay! Actually, this will be super interesting.
Yeah, they're quite interesting. I myself am quite a fan. We have a weird situation where I'm not technically a member, and Abby is not driving right now, so we both have to go. If one of us wants to go to Costco, we both have to go.
Can't you? Basically. Do you not pay for the group? You can add your spouse in. I think. Yeah, that's what we do.
I came into the picture too late. She had the membership. It's a whole deal with the web clan, but so I'm too late to the party. So we go a lot. It's not like I can go or she can go. We both have to go. And
date night.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, we're becoming like an old couple, going for those samples. But anyway, I just going there so much. It's such an interesting place. They do things so differently, and I like how they do things, or so I thought.
Oh, did I change your mind, or did your research change your mind?
No, research a little bit. I'm like, I guess we'll talk about it a little bit, but
okay.
Let's go back to the 50s. This is kind of when they started. Also, my eye is starting to feel weird. This is a strange sensation.
You've got 50 more seconds. You're doing great. I kind of forgot you were doing that,
actually. Okay, so meet Sol Price. He is this attorney from New York, and back in the 50s, he got into the warehouse game. He wanted to kind of make some investments and business moves. And so in 1953, he helped his mother-in-law acquire an empty warehouse building as an investment. And they got this warehouse, and they're like, what do we do with it? How do we make money with this thing?
Glad we bought this. Now what?
Yeah, it seems opposite of what you would normally do, but I'm no businessman like he is apparently.
Yeah, he knows more than me, I bet.
Yeah. So he had heard about this store in LA called Fedco, which is a membership club in a warehouse offering low prices, similar to like any warehouse like Sam's Club, Costco.
Sure. Yep.
And so he reached out and wanted to partner, but Fedco said, "No, we're good." Okay, that's been 5 minutes. They're like, "No, we're good." And he's like, "Okay, well, I'll just do it on my own." So he started his own store and called it, he's really good with names. He called it FedMart instead of Fedco.
Oh, perfect.
He's like, this is my own unique creative twist. I'm taking FedMart.
That's what they say with creativity. You take someone's idea and you twist it to create your own.
You rip off somebody's half of their idea.
Exactly.
Just change it so you don't get sued.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Creativity. So it was super successful. A lot of people look to FedMart as a model of like, okay, this is a good model to opening a store. Sam Walton, actually the founder of Walmart, said, "I guess I've stolen, I actually prefer the word borrowed, as many ideas from Sol Price as from anybody else in the business." So he was kind of this well-respected businessman in that arena.
Good dude. Yeah, great.
He eventually sold FedMart to a German retailer after it went public, but they couldn't keep it afloat, went under, and then years later, Sol Price opened another cleverly named store, this time called Price Club.
Nice.
Named his last name,
he's
Price.
Just a clever guy.
Yeah. I know. And basically the same as...
Welcome to the Price Club.
It kind of does. I mean, club just sounds exclusive, so you're like...
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm in. And so it was... If we go to Costco, the beginning of Costco now, It was founded by two men, not Sol Price, but two men who were greatly inspired by Price Club and this whole business model. Jeff and James, we'll call them. I guess that's their name, but we're not going to do last names because it's simpler.
But we'll also call them that.
We're going to call them that because that's their names. Got it?
Love it.
Does that make sense?
I'm on board. That works for me.
Okay. So Jeff, he was influenced to start Costco after his dad was like, hey, Sol Price is doing some pretty great stuff. You should do what he's doing. And then James had worked closely with Sol Price on FedMart and Price Club. And they teamed up to create the first Costco in Seattle in 1983.
Ooh.
And since then, it's
Seattle.
Yes. They have Microsoft, Starbucks,
Both
Fish Market, and Costco.
Exactly.
So it blew up, did really well. The first 6 years, they passed $6 billion in sales.
Whoa.
Yeah, insane.
That is an explosion. Holy cow.
Too much to handle. My brain is shutting down. I'm tired. It makes me tired. I'm yawning.
Sorry. Wow.
I feel like before we started recording, we each yawned like 6 times.
Sometimes
so it's bound to happen.
Yeah, sometimes you're not even sleepy. It just hits, you know?
It just hits. Yeah, somebody else yawns, gets to you. Price Club and Costco merged in 1993, and they were called Price Costco. And since that sucks, they just called it Costco instead.
It's like, hey, hear me out. This is horrible. This is a horrible name.
Price Costco is horrible? Yeah, just mine's better. Okay, so that's kind of history. Basically, very bare bones. You pay a certain amount to be able to get the privilege to shop there, which is so silly when you think about it.
I want to shop in this building. I'm willing to pay the premium. That is silly.
Isn't that
I'm
crazy?
against that.
Okay. But the membership is kind of where it gets interesting. So you have two basic options. You have $60 a year or $120 a year, but the $120 a year one, you can get cash back, 2% cash back. So if you spend at least $6,000 a year, it pays for itself.
Oh. Is this what year is this again?
Oh, currently.
Oh, we're current. Okay.
This is current.
I'm tracking.
So this year, if you want to make back your membership, you have to spend at least $6,000, which for a lot of people, no problem.
Yeah. Not us, but a lot of people.
So, it's this. I feel like my mind is being opened. I'm like, maybe Costco's not as great as I thought. But anyway,
is this a scam?
It might be. Is Costco a quack? So the membership is their sweet spot, and this is kind of mind-blowing to me. This is where they make a large majority of their money. So in 2019, 92% of their profits were from memberships.
What?
Yeah, 92%. So almost everything they make is directly from just people paying to be a member.
Whoa.
Yeah. So their prices are so low because they don't really make that much money from it. But where they really rake it in is from those memberships. And
this
on average,
very interesting.
On average, 72% is memberships spread out. So one way to think about their business model, which I thought was interesting, is that their main purpose is to get their members to renew their membership year after year. So they're not even like it's like the thing they're selling is the membership, and then how do we get people to pay for the membership? Oh, let's just sell stuff for cheap.
Yeah, we have to put stuff in here. Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah. Which makes me it's like, okay, if you're not making that, if you're not paying for it, I mean, for the consumer, a lot of times the everything's so much cheaper anyway. If you were going to buy it already, then it makes sense to go there. But if you go in there and you're like, oh, I'm going to buy that and that and that because it's cool, and you weren't going to buy it anyway, then you probably are losing money. by
You're getting ripped
having a
off.
membership.
Yeah.
But I thought that was such an interesting, a large majority of what they make is just recurring memberships.
That's
And
so
so
interesting.
part of that is they want people to become a member year after year after year and to keep renewing it. So their main priority is to keep people happy. And so, like we talked about earlier, the food court, the hot dogs and the rotisserie chickens are both, they lose money on those. Like, it's cheaper to buy it at Costco than to make it yourself.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
I think it was like someone did the math and it was like almost twice as much if you were to make it yourself.
I believe that.
Just the hot dog, I guess. And so that's one way to keep people happy. And my favorite quote, maybe of all time, I had heard this years ago, but Jim, he's one of the co-founders, he once told a former CEO, this is a direct quote, "If you raise the effing dog, I'll kill you."
That's so good. I didn't realize. I knew that it was like the owner that was like, "No, I'm not doing it."
Yeah, they take it
very,
very seriously.
That is so funny.
Somebody asked him about that quote later, and he's like, "I know it sounds crazy making a big deal about it, but spend a lot of time on it, and we're known for it, so it's something you don't mess with."
To be fair, it is everyone's favorite part of Costco.
Yeah.
And they're in trouble now because if they ever did get rid of it, Costco would just go under because everyone would be like, "Did they just take away our hot dog
hate
deals?"
us. Yeah. Yeah. Or even if they raised it a little bit. It's been $1.50 since the 80s when they first started it.
It is kind of insane.
Yeah.
I just spent $12 at McDonald's the other day.
That's wild.
I could go get just as filled up for $3 at Costco. I love that.
It's crazy.
Happy
Also,
to be a member.
This episode is targeted towards millennials and older, it turns out. If you're Gen Z is not listening anymore, I don't think.
They're like, I'm over this.
I don't really care.
Can you just talk about Fortnite more? That's what every
next
Gen Z
episode.
says. Yep.
So they want their customers to have a great experience. Part of that is the hot dog. The idea is you come in for the chicken or the hot dog, and then you leave with muffins and shampoo and a kayak or motor oil or whatever.
Any number of things. Yeah.
Right.
Here's a question for you. They don't require you to be a member to go to the food court, which seems kind of backwards, right? Or, follow-up question, actually, maybe before you answer that. Is that true? Or were we just sneaking in all those years by accident?
No, I have heard reports that they are cracking down, and sometimes they don't. And depending on the location, they won't let you in if you don't have a membership card.
Because I remember when we were in high school, we would go there all the time because it was right by our high school, and you just stroll right in.
Yeah.
No card required.
I'm not sure. My brother told me once that they didn't let him in, and that was a sad day for all. But you don't.
Sad day.
Something interesting that people probably don't know about Costco is you don't need a membership to buy alcohol. So a lot of places, because the laws are different, so you can't have you can't sell alcohol as a membership. So you can just walk in and buy it and leave. So a lot of places have it like at the beginning or the end.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So that could be a way to get in then. So if you're looking to get into the food court and they've cracked down on you and you don't have a membership, just be like, sorry, I'm just going in there to buy some alcohol.
So if you're a 14-year-old kid, I'm just going to go look at the alcohol.
And then you're not allowed to tell me I can't.
Legally, I can look at it. From a distance, at least.
And then you just see him running out with 3 hot dogs. Gotcha.
No. And then they have like a big hall of shame.
Yep.
It's possible they might. But anyway, back to the food court. Did you know there are Costco's outside the U.S.?
I did not. I don't know if I... Yeah, I didn't. I did not know that. I don't know if I thought there were, or if I didn't think there were, or if I've just never thought about it at all.
Just never thought about it, probably. Yeah, this is very interesting to me. So as of last year, there's 584 locations in the U.S., 848 worldwide.
Oh, so a lot outside of the U.S.
Yeah,
wow.
Depending on how many they've opened since the research that I saw, there could be like 300 outside the U.S.
Whoa, that's
there's
cool.
123 million members. So think about the membership times 123 million. They're making billions of dollars.
Holy cow! So of course they're selling hot dogs for dirt cheap.
Yeah, they make $3 billion every year and growing just from memberships.
How many people did you say again?
123 million.
123. Doing some quick math. Over 8 billion. Oh, wait, it won't let me go more than... What? Sorry.
Are you trying to figure out what percentage of the world is a Costco member?
As a Costco member. Yeah, except it wouldn't let me go to a billion on my phone calculator, so I guess we'll never get to know.
Looks like...
Let me try it on the computer. We have to know.
Oh, sure enough, you can't do math in the billions on the iPhone calculator.
That seems like a scam. I pay for billions. I deserve them. Okay, let's see if the computer will let me. 800? 800,000? 800 million? 8 billion.
Easy.
1.5%. That is less.
Wow.
That is not as impressive. It doesn't sound like an impressive number.
Sure.
I bet 1.5% of the entire world is Costco members.
Give it some time. I bet it will grow because Canada has over 100, Mexico has 40, Japan has over 30, UK has about 30, Korea, Taiwan, Australia all have 10. Spain, France, China, Iceland, New Zealand, and Sweden all have 1 to 4.
Wow. Is Costco going to just turn into like the next superpower?
It's going to be
Costco runs
Google,
everything.
Amazon, and Costco.
The big
superpower. They're going to get like their a military, like a private military, and they're going to get,
Oh,
maybe.
Don't get me started on Pepsi's military.
Oh, brother. Oh, hey, speaking of that.
Yeah.
From the episode Caleb talked about Pepsi's military, somebody told me that they listened to that episode and did more research on it for a school project, and they found out that they said it wasn't true.
What? They've made like documentaries on it.
Somebody told me that. So
I don't trust. I'm dubious.
Okay, I have his number.
We'll look into it.
I'll give you his number, and you can cyberbully him.
Duke it out, cyberbully. Hey, you loser! Stop coming for my topics.
I'm smarter than you.
No, there's so much research, but I disagree.
Okay,
but that's okay. I guess I'm currently cyberbullying him.
Okay.
As we speak.
Whoever this person that told me this, you know who you are. We'll get it settled. Reach out. Okay.
Also, you're probably a great person. Sorry.
Oh,
sorry that I disagreed with
you. So let's go to the food courts of the international locations, because it's not going to be all the same. You're not going to have like the chicken bake, you know how they kind of rotate stuff, the cookies, the churro.
Sure. Yeah, it would make sense that there's different stuff internationally.
Yeah. Yep. So they all, I found out, or if not close to all, have the hot dog, the cheap hot dog. That's
of course. That's the standard.
Costco 101. Mm-hmm. And they all have some sort of pizza, but from there it kind of varies a little bit. So in the UK, you can get an Aberdeen Angus cottage pie, which is like a pot pie.
Lovely.
Yeah. Or you can get my favorite, a jacket potato. Have you ever heard of this?
Nope.
It's
Sounds
a
cool.
it looks if you're British and you like these, cover your ears. It looks so gross. It's okay. Imagine a baked potato, just a plain baked potato, and they put tuna in it and like cold, unmelted, shredded cheese on top, and that's it.
No. Who on earth? Well, I guess we know
The
who.
British.
Guys,
The British.
just over there, quit that. Quit that business.
Yeah, that's rough. But if you go over to Korea, you could find bulgogi pizza, Hamburg steak with fried rice, mushroom soup, or milk soft ice cream.
Oh, that's cool. Man,
I don't know what
fun.
that is.
It's milk soft, Josiah.
Milk
don't
soft.
worry about it.
Is that just mean it's milk? Milk soft is liquid.
Maybe that just is like this is ice cream flavored milk is all it is.
Or it's just melted ice cream. Could be good, actually. I might buy that.
It's fun to hear
China,
what other countries have, like what their standards are.
Wait, you say let us hear?
What their standards are.
Oh,
What a normal acceptable food is.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess what's on our food court that is unacceptable to other people around the world?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what else is in our food court. I know we have the non-fat yogurt parfait.
Yes. Most other places
delicious.
it's ice cream. It's not frozen yogurt. Which something really interesting. Mm-hmm. So they're let me scroll down. I had this. The average shopper, so they took the data from all the shoppers, averaged it out to make one like perfect Costco shopper. Like the average of every Costco shopper is an Asian American woman between 35 and 44 who's married with a 4-year degree or higher and earning over $125,000 a year.
Wow, I didn't check a single one of those boxes you just mentioned.
Oh, you have a 4-year degree?
Yeah, sorry. I misspoke. I have a 4-year degree and I'm married.
There you go.
All the rest of those.
Mal's like, excuse me?
Is there something we need to talk about?
Yeah, so that's their average, and that's kind of their market. But speaking of the frozen yogurt, so they're at one point their average shopper, their age was like 50, and so they're trying to get it down to 40 so that you can, like, the younger they start people getting memberships, the longer they can keep them.
Yep, the lifespan of a consumer. Talked about it a lot in my business classes at Baker's University.
You're just gonna retake retake a marketing degree, get a second one.
Yeah, just double up.
Yeah, so the lifespan's longer if you have younger people starting out buying a membership younger. So that's why they have started introducing more like organic, sustainable products. So the healthier foods, because they have their market is wealthier people and younger people. So they're trying to get a younger market.
I get it.
So so that I think that's why they do the frozen yogurt rather than ice cream, because frozen yogurt sounds like it's healthier.
Hey, health. I know for a
Healthy.
fact that is not a healthy thing because I've eaten it more than once. And I just know they do say they're sugar-free, I think, as well. Or did I make that up?
I think you're making that up. There's no way.
You take one bite and you're like, yeah, I just lost muscle mass by eating this. Somehow.
You're like, I want to have this for my birthday party.
Yeah, exactly.
And it can't be good for you.
I have to divert us real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
You said birthday party, and it made me think of birthdays, which made me think of little kids, which made me think of when I was a little kid. Did you know Heelys have made a comeback?
No.
I kid you not. They've come back, and they're thriving, and schools are having to send letters out to parents saying, we love that your kids have Heelys again, but please don't let them ride Heely around in the school hallways. They're just like back, and that's so fun.
Really? That was like, I remember you had Heelys.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the moment I tried them, and I was like, these are so cool.
Yeah.
Never got them, but maybe now's the time, it sounds like.
They make them for adults. Guess how much a set of Heelys costs? If you don't know what a Heely is, they're shoes with wheels on the bottom, but not rollerblades. They're like, you can walk around and stuff too. Guess how much it would cost to buy an adult men's pair of Heelys?
I'm thinking like $100.
$44. They're crazy cheap.
You're kidding.
I know. How crazy. How fun.
Okay, Christmas. How far away is Christmas?
Yeah.
Half a year?
Pre-order.
Okay.
Pre-order it. They're going to be out.
That is crazy. Okay,
back to Costco, Josiah. We're running out of time.
We'll break down the Heelys business strategy next time.
Perfect.
France, food courts, you can get fish and chips or PB&J. You can get clam chowder in Australia or boba tea in New Zealand. Like, very interesting. I didn't know about this when I was traveling a bunch, and I'm sad because I would try out the Costco food courts around the world.
Tour different Costcos? Yeah, that
sounds interesting.
Like a great idea.
Yeah. They say international Costcos are much more profitable, and they're predicting that Costco is just going to continue to skyrocket, especially in China, because in Shanghai, their opening day of their Costco, so many people came that they had to start turning people away because there's too many people in the building.
No way.
It was. There's been reports that there were 3-hour waits to get a parking spot.
Holy cow!
And then I guess at the meat counter there was like pushing and shoving and kind of fighting for those sweet rotisserie chicken deals.
Holy cow!
And so they're saying China. There's a huge market in China. It's the most populous country in the world. They're saying they're going to just start pumping out Costco's there.
We're going to go from 1.5% to 6%. That's my guess.
Who knows? Get China and India, most of the world.
Exactly. That's almost everybody.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so that's about it. I have some fun facts about Costco.
Hit me.
Largest Costco in the world, Salt Lake City.
Okay.
Busiest store in the world is... Here, guess where this is. Busiest Costco in the world.
Sounds like China.
No.
That was just the opening day. I'm going to say busiest one in the world. Oh, man, I don't know. Somewhere like L.A. That's my guess.
Nope. Hawaii. The island of
What?
Oahu. Yeah. They say that one quarter of the island of Oahu, it's estimated, is a member.
Good for them. The Oahu manager is just like on cloud 9. They're like, I've done my job. I am the best.
Maybe Oahu is just Asian American women between 35 and 44 with 4-year degree and making a lot of money here.
That must be it.
That's where their market is congregating.
That's the only conclusion.
Kind of makes sense. Oh, and I did read, it said the stats say this, the second and third most popular, most common races are Caucasian and Hispanic.
Okay.
I thought that was interesting. Doesn't necessarily mean anything. I just thought it was an interesting stat that they included.
Sure.
Sure. And average customer grabs 9 products, which costs you over $100 per trip.
Makes sense.
Kirkland Signature, named so because their former headquarters were in Kirkland, Washington, which is a suburb of Seattle. And then finally, their most popular items, top 5. What do you think is number 1?
The giant OLED TV that you have to look at when you first walk in.
You have to look at it. They point at it. Look at. Okay,
no, I can do a better guess. What do people buy in bulk?
Yeah, you're on the right track.
I'm thinking maybe like a type of breakfast cereal or like a toilet paper. Go more.
Yes, you got it.
Is it?
Yeah,
yes!
Kirkland Signature bath tissue. Toilet paper is the most popular item. Second, rotisserie chicken.
Okay.
third is a meat, a frozen meat. Guess which one that is?
A frozen meat.
What do
Turkey,
you think?
deli meat.
Bacon. Bacon is their third most popular item.
What?
Fourth, yeah, it's very interesting. Fourth is hot dogs. And then fifth is gas, which I don't know how they measure that. I don't know if it's
you bought more gas than that guy bought Cheerios. So you win.
it's probably a dollar amount, like how much.
Oh, that would make more sense.
Like 1 gallon equals, it's like 1 package of toilet paper, 1 chicken, 1 hot dog, 1 gallon of gas.
Yeah. You bought 1 gallon of milk and 13 gallons of gas, so gas wins.
Gas more popular.
Wow,
that's about it.
fun.
Costco's pretty interesting. Next time you go there, just know that everything they do is to get you to buy more, because the samples are to get you to buy impulse, make impulse purchases.
Don't do it, people.
They make you wander around the store so you can find new things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a business.
Yeah.
But in the end, I think I am still a big fan. So
I think I am too in general, just not the busyness of it. What was I gonna say? It was something. I was just gonna say I'm glad that you discussed why they were able to price things low, because I've always wondered, how can they make things cost less than other places?
Yeah.
And now I know. That's very interesting.
It's very interesting.
I feel like a part of the mystery of life has been completed for me, which is
good. Glad to clear it up a little bit.
Delightful. All right, Josiah. First off, we need to thank our patrons.
Yes.
So thank you for doing that.
Yes.
We appreciate
been a while.
you guys.
I paused it for a short bit, so you're not getting charged for nothing. But thanks for sticking by, and appreciate all the patrons for sure. If you want to listen to our extra podcast, The Night Club, that's on there as well. Mm-hmm. We'll get posted on there as well more regularly. Thanks.
Yeah, if you like us, want to support, then jump on. You can give as little as $1 a month, and just helps us cover. We do have some costs, random things here and there, hosting, blah blah blah, boring stuff. This really is a millennial episode.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sorry, Gen Z. I hope you're still listening.
We're talking business, money, saving money, value, shopping,
and subscription fees. Now we've covered it all.
Yeah. Gen Z come back in 10 years, 5 to 10 years. You'll be glad. You'll
Save
be glad
this. Put it in your time capsule. When you open it up, you'll be like, "Oh, this information has been so good." And by then, I bet Costco will be bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. What you got?
I truly don't know if this will appeal more or less or equally to the Gen Z population. But sometimes there's a topic that I'm just like, I want to know more about that. And I research it. And this is one of those. So this is something I've heard a lot about, but knew up to this point very little about. So we are talking about sumo wrestling.
Oh, very interesting. Okay.
What do you know about sumo?
Very little. I know they eat a lot. It's very rigorous training. Japanese.
Yeah, you nailed it. This topic is over.
Okay.
Just kidding. First things first, sumo means wrestling. So when you say sumo wrestling, you're looking like a fool.
Wrestling.
It also can mean like fighting, I think. So you can probably get away with it.
Fighting wrestling.
In case you don't know, sumo is Japanese full contact wrestling with some big dudes. If you Google it, I will, for this whole topic, give a little bit of a nudity warning. Nothing too graphic, but they are scantily clad big fellas.
When you hear the word scantily clad, you don't think of sumo, but it really is true. It's true.
But it is, I'm not encouraging you to, but I kind of am. It's not horrible. It's mostly nothing you wouldn't expect to see at like a beach, but not from these type of people. I'm moving on.
Okay, I think we've all seen a picture of a sumo wrestler.
Yeah. So
there's kids that listen. Okay, go ahead.
The wrestlers are known as rikishi, and forgive me if I mispronounce anything for you Japanese speakers. I did try to look things up, but there's a lot to pronounce. So, do you want to talk about rituals first or how it works first?
Let's go how it works.
Okay. So there's 2 ways to win. Option 1 is you can force the opposing rikishi outside of the dohyo, which is a circle. We'll talk more about kind of what that is. But essentially, if there's an out of bounds and it's just a big circle, the goal is option 1, get the opposing rikishi outside of that somehow, or option 2, get the opposing rikishi to touch the ground with any part of their body that is not the bottoms of their feet. So you either knock them over, trip them, whatever, or find a way to get them outside the circle. Okay. The fun thing, I didn't know this about sumo. Other than that, there's not a ton of rules. There are a few that I'll mention, but in general, it's not like you think about boxing or something on our side. It's like you're just fighting each other, and that is what's going to happen. But with sumo, you can do any number of things, and you can utilize any number of strategies and stuff. Also, sorry, boxers. I know it's more complex than that, but you know what I'm saying. So you can push, you can hit, you can strike, you can throw, you can flip people, you can pick them up and carry them. Pretty much anything you want to do to win is on the table. The few rules do include you're not allowed to strangle. There's no hair pulling. There's no finger bending. There's no grabbing of the crotch area. No kicking, which I found interesting. No closed fist punching, but you can hit and slap.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and then there's no hitting both opponents' ears at the same time, which makes me think of that scene in Sherlock Holmes, when he's like, discombobulate. 3 months.
Discombobulate, that's what it is. I immediately thought of that too.
So that makes sumo really interesting because it means there's multiple different strategies that you can use, and you kind of just base things off of whatever strategy is going to work best for your body type. So sumo's known for having these huge girthy dudes, right? Yeah. But an interesting thing is that there are 0 weight divisions and 0, so it's not like American wrestling. There aren't any, you're not paired up with someone who looks equal to you. You're just going up against another rikishi. And because of that, it makes your strategy really interesting. So it's very possible that you could end up facing off against someone who's twice your size, and then you just have to kind of figure out how to work your strengths. Like maybe you need to go more for speed. He's going to try to grab you and pick you up or whatever. Maybe you need to go more for the trick and trip technique, which I just made up just now. Anyway, I think that's very interesting.
So do they? That's why they gain so much weight. Is just because the bigger you are and the deeper squat you can hold, the harder you are to knock over. Yeah, I think so. That's kind of the main theory behind it. Why they're so big?
It seems like there's you can be any size just about, but it doesn't mean that any size is good. I think strategically in general, to be a big guy is going to be better, especially since you can't punch or anything. Yeah. So you do see the vast majority are pretty significantly big dudes. And we'll talk more about the qualifications of being a professional rikishi in a bit. But so two of the most popular strategies are trying to grab their belt which is called a mawashi. Do you know? I don't at all want to be disrespectful in this topic, but it does kind of look like underwear. But it's not. Turns out, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. It's like it's like a thin, it's like a stiff tube of underwear. It's almost like you have a big belt and then you have a loincloth.
Yes.
Passing from front to back.
Loincloth feels like a solid way to describe it. Interesting thing about those, though, they are 30 feet long. So the reason they look the way they do is because there's a special, unique way to wrap them, and then you tie them up in knots in the back. So it's not just something that you pull up and call good. It's like this really long cloth that you have to kind of work around. Yeah. Oh, just a fun fact for you.
I didn't know.
So that's one of the more popular strategies, is to grab the mawashi and try to either pick up and carry or shove or just kind of leverage your way and push them out out of the dohyo. And then the other really popular strategy is just pushing without gripping, or trying to kind of strategically outsmart the other person to make them stumble. So more of just kind of a shove and hope situation. Yeah, anyway, so there are 2 start lines in the center of the circle, the dohyo. So the rikishi, they stand behind each line until the match starts, and then they charge. And so the matches, there can be multiple rounds. Each round lasts a maximum of 4 minutes. But typically, which I did not realize this, typically matches usually only last a few seconds each. And
really?
So when you're watching stuff, they're getting through a lot of different rikishi because the actual matches are really, really fast. And also, when you watch these, a big part of what you're watching is ritual and kind of tradition-based stuff that's not the actual wrestling. So they typically only last a few seconds, and if there isn't a winner after the first round, so after 4 minutes, they take a water break, similar to boxing, and then they restart from wherever they were at. And then 4 minutes later, same thing, end of the second round, they'll take another break, and they start over, same thing. But then after that one, at the end of the third round, there will be a draw, and so they just call the match there. Apparently, this is really unlikely, and it has not happened since 1974, I believe.
I bet that was huge. I bet the crowd went wild.
Yeah, like, oh, it's a standoff. Yeah. So essentially, you get 2 guys, you stand them inside of circle, they start the match, they charge each other, and then usually within a few seconds, they're just kind of grappling, throwing, lifting, pushing, shoving, whatever works. And then someone either falls over or gets pushed outside the circle. And that is the end of the match. That's essentially sumo.
Okay, it makes so much more sense, the whole thinking behind being as big as you possibly can. Because if you're only going for like a few seconds, you don't really need to prioritize cardio at all. You just need as much strength as possible and to be able to be knock-overable.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. It's more of a sprint than a marathon. It's just get in there, do your work, get out. So, yeah, they are huge, very, very strong, but it is not by any means an endurance-related sport.
That's very interesting.
Had you ever watched an actual sumo match? I guess probably not, or else you would have known some of that.
I think I had seen little clips. I think this was a topic I briefly looked into.
Sure.
A while ago. Yeah, I think I briefly watched it, but I don't really remember much about it.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's kind of interesting. I might after this just
have to go watch some.
Make some popcorn and.
It's fun because it's just so different than what we have here. Like it's just unique and cool and interesting. Also, I forgot to mention this. The dohyo, the circle is about 15 feet. So
Oh, it's not very
decent
big.
size, but not a huge
Yeah,
playing area.
that's smaller than I thought it would be.
Yeah, exactly. That probably is another contributor to why it is so fast.
Sure.
So let's talk about rituals. There's a ton of rituals. We'll talk about some of the bigger ones. This is a tradition that's like steeped in history and stuff. So there is a lot of stuff that comes along with it. But the first main thing that everyone does, so you can watch these tournaments or exhibition matches, and you just kind of watch it in stands like normal. And then the first thing that you'll see is all the rikishi. They walk into the room, and then they split into two separate groups, the east side and the west side, and they enter one at a time, and they circle the ring. And so they enter the room in order of their ranking, which we'll talk about the ranking a bit later.
Okay.
And then, so one half comes in, they circle the ring. Then the other half, they come in, they circle the ring. Once all the rikishi are in, they form a circle around the dohyo. They face each other, and then they clap their hands, and then they raise their mawashis. So they raise their belts, but they're wearing them, so they have like the flap in front.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah. So it's a
Okay.
loincloth, but then also the flap that comes over. So they raise the flap.
Okay.
So
I was worried they just had all 30 feet of it folded like in their hands.
yeah, no, it's just like they're all naked. No, they're already dressed.
Oh, thank goodness.
There's a ton of tradition and ritual leading up to the actual events, but I'm just starting at the actual event itself.
Okay.
So then they clap their hands, they raise their mawashis, and this has been done since the samurais, which we'll talk about the history a little bit too. But they would do this. They would do this to show that they were unarmed, which is, I think, cool. So it's literally just lifting up their clothing to show, like, hey, this is going to be an honorable fight. I don't have any weapons on me. It's even, that kind of thing. So that way, every wrestler in the room knows this is all going to be even, no cheating, whatever. And then you've likely seen this when the two rikishi are facing off. Before the match starts, they spend a few minutes lifting up their legs really high and then stomping them down as hard as they can. So they're kind of low in a squat. They lift a leg, they stomp it. You've seen that.
Yeah, actually, real quick, if you don't know, I make little free logo videos for people.
Oh, yeah, you made a sumo logo.
Torchlight Creative. Check me out. And there's a guy in New Zealand who has a sumo, like a backyard sumo club. And,
so fun.
Made a logo for him, and sometimes I'll see him like practicing that like out in his backyard within the dohyo.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot that you had done that. So apparently this used to be done to scare away demons when they first started doing it.
Okay.
Do with that what you will. But now it's just tradition. Like, it's just, this is what we do. And then they also, I didn't realize this adds, in my opinion, some pain to the whole situation. They throw salt in the ring, and then they throw salt on themselves to protect, it's kind of a superstitious, to protect themselves from injury. Just feels like it would make everything like grittier and like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I kind of just think stomping your feet as hard as you can would hurt too.
Would also be painful.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so those are some of the main rituals. There's a lot of stuff around meals and other things that go on throughout the day as well. But in terms of the matches, that's kind of what you can expect to see if you were to go to one of these. As far as the history goes, we don't really know exactly when sumo actually started, but it's from a long, long time ago. All we have is two manuscripts that describe it to give us a reference of how long it's been happening, but it could also be older than what we realize, older than when the manuscripts wrote about it. So the first official mention of sumo is found in a manuscript that's dated in 712, and it's a story of mythology which includes sumo wrestling of two gods, mythological gods that were fighting over who gets to possess the Japanese islands. Very, very old tale. Yeah, and so that's one of the first mentions we have of it from a long time ago. But then the first time it's mentioned, and I don't know much about this one, apparently there's mentions in a writing that dates back to 23 BC.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know the specifics, if that was just meaning fighting or what, but yeah, all we need to know is it's been around for a very, very long time. And then we also have like some clay figures that were made somewhere, they think in between 300 and 500, that are like clay figures of the sumo wrestlers. So it's been around for a significant amount of time, but it looks much different today than it did back then. So let's go to the original form of Japanese wrestling that we can actually look back to and know about. And it is in 1185. And up until that point, before that, leading up to 1185, it was almost always a fight to the death. So it was referred to your fight. Yeah. So it's similar, but just much more extreme.
Did they still with no weapons or anything? You're just like clobbering each other, slapping each other to death?
That's the understanding I have of it, at least.
Crazy.
Which is admittedly limited. Yeah, but it was a fight to death. It was a fight to like make decisions and settle conflicts, all sorts of stuff, leading up until the Japanese Middle Age, which started in 1100, 1200-ish area. I read a few varying accounts. But the first... Okay, here we go. When we hit the Middle Ages, that's when it starts getting popular as a sport. So it's the first thing we see. It was this kind of fight to the death thing. But then when in the samurai age, they were using it as military strategy to train and strengthen samurai. So it developed from like a bloody to the death type of battle into more of a training, strengthening type thing for samurai. And this is when it kind of starts to shape itself into what we know it as today. So it continues as training to develop and hone the rules. And over the next few hundred years, it just becomes more and more popular. Eventually, it's popular enough that it kind of leaves the samurai training field and becomes more mainstream as like a sport. And then people start enjoying watching it, and they build up a fan base, and people start sponsoring competitors to go in, and it kind of establishes itself as an official sport. Which brings us to a guy named Oda Nobunaga. And he was one of the guys who's famous in the sumo world because he kind of brought this to its bigness and coolness that it now is today. So he was just, I don't even know many details about this guy other than the fact that he was a huge fan of sumo and he was super rich. And I know he was super rich because he had a castle, and that, sounds pretty rich to me.
You don't just get those without money.
Exactly. So he organizes as a super fan, a sumo super fan. He organizes a tournament at his castle in 1578.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, I like this sport. All of you competitors, come to my castle. Anyone who wants to watch, you also come. Yeah, just like...
Man, to be there, that'd be so fun.
Seriously. Like, if I was a time traveler, this might be on my list. I just feel like it'd be really cool.
The common question of, like, if you could travel anywhere in time, People are like, oh, I would go
There
back
was
to
this
like
one.
meet Jesus, or other people are like, I would go see George Washington. You're like, I would go back to the castle and watch the sumo fights, or watch sumo at the castle. Oh,
1578, there's this sick sumo tournament. I just have to be there. Yeah, maybe it wouldn't be like the top of my list, but if I was like, if time traveling was not a, if you could just do it whenever,
sure.
I'd add it to the list.
Yeah, that's
anyway.
right.
So to give you the scope of this, 1,500 wrestlers show up to this. And there were so many people spectating and everything was so busy that they realized, oh, this maybe isn't super safe with this many people around here. And that is where our dojos were invented. They realized that because there were so many people, they had to establish boundaries so that, there were areas where people could watch and be safe and areas where people could compete and not be disturbed, that kind of thing. So they made these circles and they said, all right, new rule. And that has essentially set it on its course to becoming what it is today. And it's just grown since and become really, really cool. And yeah, so it's a long history and we really don't have all of the details of it, which is a bummer. But what we can take away is it's incredibly old and like very rich in history and part of samurai culture, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah. So current day, there are 6 major tournaments a year, and then throughout the year there are exhibition matches and stuff like that.
Okay.
But the tournaments, those are the things that matter to the rikishi. They last 15 days, and rikishi typically do about 1 match a day. And the goal is to have a positive record. So at the end of the tournament, if you have positive stats and performed well, you get to move up in this complicated, it's not super complicated, this kind of tiered sumo hierarchy. So your goal is to move up to the kind of the next section, the next portion of sumo. I could be wrong on this, but I want to say there are like 6 or 7 different levels that you can get to. So if you perform well in one of these 6 tournaments, then you can be promoted and move upwards. And if you perform negatively, then you can also be demoted and move back down in level. So the goal is to win, of course, in sumo, but there's also this kind of background game where you're in this ranked, tiered situation trying to move up and get to the next highest thing, which I think is cool.
Do you know much about the highest level? Like, what's a sumo master? Do they have like a...
Oh, yeah. So the highest possible status you can achieve is called Yokozuna. Yokozuna, yeah. Which is essentially like grand champion status, and it's so elite and so hard to get into that apparently, and call me out if I'm incorrect on this, but I think this is correct, there have only been 70 of these ever since they've established the modern rules of the sport, at least. And once you become a Yokozuna, you're there for life. You can never be demoted. And then you're expected, when you start performing worse, you're expected to retire. And then you just kind of... Yeah, you live on in this Yokozuna master, kind of remembered as a legend. I think it's kind of cool. Like once you achieve this,
you're there. You're done. You don't need to keep fighting.
Yeah, you never have to fight again if you don't want to. But this is the dream. This is what everyone, when they're getting started, hopes to get to. And apparently, currently, the 69th and the 70th Yokozuna are still wrestling, and everyone else has either passed away or is retired.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're both out there. Okay.
So, and it's this high stress situation because you're trying to move up, but you're also trying not to move back down, and you're competing with people that you do life with, which is really interesting. And so it's yeah. So maybe let's end on that actually. The Rikishi lifestyle. You mentioned this a little bit at the very beginning of this. To become a professional Rikishi, if you're not, there's amateur leagues as well. And sometimes if you do really well in an amateur league, you can jump in at a higher tier. But for most people, you have to start from ground zero in kind of this tiered system. And the requirements are very interesting. So first off, you have to have finished the standard Japanese education requirements. And then you also have to be at least 5'6" and at least 148 pounds, which is so much smaller than I would have expected.
Yeah.
Like just looking at these guys, I would have been like, you have to start at 250 or something,
Yeah.
It's like big dudes. And then 5'6" is not super tall. I don't know. It's just I was surprised by the physical requirements.
Maybe it's just like basketball where once you get to the pros, there's very, very few short people. Like
sure. Yeah. Like maybe you could. It's possible, but probably not.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, but like those that are born with just a better physique for sumo are the ones that are gonna, even though other people could. Maybe that's kind of the thinking.
Let's go with that. I feel like that makes sense to me. You're also, side note, you're not allowed to surgically enhance your height, which is an issue that they faced, because to be in sumo is a high honor. And so some people were like, there's a story of people who started to add height to their heads. So they would surgically increase the height of their heads, so that they would meet the height requirements. And as you could imagine, it became a bit of a safety issue. So they had to add that rule in. Sorry, you can't surgically make yourself taller so that you can get in.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So people love it then.
Oh yeah, there are some people that are like, I need this. I need to be a part of this.
Is this something you would do like in high school? Is it like a high school sport, or like once you get old enough?
Yes, I could be wrong. I don't know if it's the same thing as like in our high schools where it's just something through the school, but there are amateur leagues and younger people will participate in those.
Okay.
They're stripped of most of the rituals and traditions and are more, so it's probably similar to the club that your friend in New Zealand had you do a logo for.
Yeah.
So the actual fighting, the actual wrestling is the same, but it's kind of stripped of some of its honor that you get when you're a professional and you go through kind of the system.
Sure.
So the next crazy thing in order to be a professional wrestler is you're required to move into stables with the other Rikishi, and you have to live, like if you want to be a part of this, you have to live full time with them, and that's just who you are and where you live. And they all live together, and they train under a very strict regiment, as you were saying, which usually starts at like 5 a.m. every day. Some of these things are just so intense. There's 40 of these stables, and they're just big, like, I kind of am picturing college campus. Probably not that big, but like dorm room, training area, gym, kind of, a little bit of everything. So there's stable masters, which are the leader of these stables, obviously, and you just have to do what they say. And so like they give you a new name, which is called a shikona, and you don't get to control what your new name is. They just get to choose it, and you are required to go with it. Like you have zero say.
It's like they do that in, I don't know, it seems like a military pilot thing, or like...
Yeah, I would imagine it's similar to that. But it's kind of handed to you. It's not something you get a choice in the matter.
That's what we will call you. Okay.
Yeah. You're not allowed to drive, which is interesting.
that like a safety thing? Because they don't want people getting in wrecks or something?
Maybe partly that. One thing I did read, I couldn't tell if this was a joke or not, is that they likely couldn't fit in the cars behind a steering wheel anyway. So that just might be more of a practical,
Sure.
you can't get into the car type of situation. And then they're required to grow their hair out and then tie it up in the top knot. That if you've seen sumo, you know what that looks like. Very traditional. Another thing I thought was interesting is they're allowed to leave the stable. Like, they're not in jail. They can go live their lives and go places and stuff. But at all times when they're out and about anywhere, they're required to wear a thin cotton robe and sandals. It doesn't matter where you're at or what the weather is. If you sign up, if you're accepted to be a rikishi, that is what you wear. That's your outfit.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So they're almost like monks.
Yeah, seriously. It gives off a very similar vibe. And then lastly, and then I'll be done, is they are, the hierarchy system is very important in the stables. So when you start, you're the lowest of the low, and that is when the dropout rate of rikishi is at its very highest, because one thing I read said and there's names for all of these that I can't remember, but the very bottom tier is meant to serve, and then the higher tiers are meant to be served, and that is the lifestyle of these stables. So like they'll get up and the higher ups will train at 5, and while they're training, the low tiered wrestlers are also up, but they're doing chores and getting breakfast ready and cleaning up. And then the same thing, they don't eat breakfast, which I thought was interesting. None of them do. And then after lunch, the higher ups are required to take naps, like afternoon power naps. And while they're napping, the low tier people have to they just have to like clean and get things ready for when everyone's up again. So it's very much like it stinks to be a low ranked person, because there's all these extra chores. You don't get to relax nearly as much. You also don't make as much, of course.
Sure.
And then the same thing with the clothing, what I described, the thin cotton robe and sandals, that's what the low tier people are required to wear. And then once you move up in tiers, I think you're allowed to add some sort of jacket to it. And then there's another tier where you kind of get to upgrade your sandals to a more comfortable material. And then the higher ups have a little bit more flexibility, but they have like satin, silk robes instead of cotton robes. It's just, this whole sport and the whole industry behind it is very interesting to me.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
And so the whole goal is to just...
I want to talk to a sumo, a rikishi now. That would be really interesting.
You just see what they think and see what their life is like, because it's shockingly different than my life. I can tell you that much.
Definitely different than I thought.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the ins and outs of sumo, some of the rules, how the matches work, and also the lifestyle. The most interesting thing to me, I think, is just the lifestyle that the rikishi have to live between like their daily requirements and also the dynamic of I'm living with people, and some of them are beneath me and some of them are above me. Also, like the low rank people, they have to sleep in dorm rooms, public dorms, and then the higher ranks, they get apartments and own their own private rooms and stuff. And it's just so interesting to be a part of that world.
Here's the question. I'm assuming it's just men, right?
Yes. Yep. Like women are not allowed to be in sumo. Nope.
Okay.
It is. I can't remember the reasoning for it, but it's definitely a no women situation. And there isn't a women's league either.
Okay.
I think it's mostly tradition based. Anyway,
Sure, that's what they've done. That's very interesting.
Yeah. So there you go. That's sumo. That's all I got.
Okay, sumo. Would you, after watching it, did you find yourself like, oh, I should get into this?
I should be doing this.
Find a club.
I did not. No.
Or the opposite.
I'm happy not doing what they do. I think it would be fun to like mess around and just maybe not to the extent, like I don't want to wear the mawashi at all, even a little bit. But the concept of like try to get this person to fall over or outside of the circle, that seems fun.
Yeah.
Like if you stripped it down to just those rules, sure.
Yeah.
And then maybe do it like on a dock so you fall into water or something.
Oh,
I think I'd have fun doing that kind of thing.
A classic game of King of the Dock.
Exactly. Yeah, it's King of the Hill with extra rules and less clothes is what sumo is.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I guess so. The videos that I've seen of the guy in New Zealand is they're wearing the moishi? Is that what it's called?
Mawashi, I believe.
Mawashi. They're wearing the mawashi on top of like shorts and a t-shirt. So then you can still get the like grab it and stuff. Yeah. Give them the
I like that. I appreciate that that's something your friend does.
Actually, I mean, he's not my friend. I don't know his name or anything. So
he's your friend. You
he's
talk to him on Instagram.
Yeah, I have seen a few stories here and there.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. This episode. Sometimes I think about the titles of the episodes and they make me laugh. This one's just Costco vs. Sumo.
It's so good. It's so simple, kind of intriguing, really.
Just enough for people to be like, "What?"
I love it,
man. All right, we hinted at it earlier.
Time. Yeah, voting time. Go vote for who wins. You can do link in the description right now while we're finishing up, or you can go on social links, usually Insta bio. There's a link to go vote. Mm-hmm. Go vote for who you would like to win, and then the loser will have to do this punishment. Caleb, do you want to chat about it?
Yes.
Dreading all episodes.
We alluded to this earlier. It is not great. Some people will enjoy this. Josiah and I will not. The loser of this episode has to watch a full season of The Bachelor. What do you think? We didn't put a time limit on it. What do you think, Josiah?
No, I mean, you have to do it probably by next episode.
Ooh.
Get as much done as you can.
What if it's just like watch the whole season by next episode or else?
Ugh.
Every time you failed.
We found free episodes and they're an hour and 20 minutes a piece. And they're 13. Yeah. That's
a lot of effort.
16 hours. That is crazy. That 16 sounds hours. Like such a waste of time.
16 hours over the course of 2 weeks.
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. How about if you have to try to do it, if you can't finish it up after the next episode, but try to do it before you record the next one. No, it's going to be less because by the time people vote, you only have like a week.
That's true.
Please vote for me. Please vote for me.
No. Make Josiah watch The Bachelor. He needs this.
No, this is not about who should do the punishment. This is about who should win based on the topic. In Costco, every time you go to Costco, you'll look at it differently. You'll think about it differently. Maybe your shopping habits will change. You'll be like, I'll take the sample, but I won't buy So, I mean, you're welcome. Vote for me.
Josiah is pitching real hard. He's doing his best
I don't want to do
out
this.
Here. Vote for me because sumo's super interesting. And
it really is.
Who doesn't love really big dudes shoving each other around? I know I do.
I think I'm going to watch some online after this, I think.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. I think it'll be fun.
Abby and I sit down and watch some sumo.
All right, Abby, it's sumo night. Sit down, grab the popcorn. Sumo. We're doing this every week.
Every weekend. 2 hours. Watch the greatest hits. Man. Okay. Yeah, that all you got? Do you have any final thoughts?
Nope. That's all I got.
Housekeeping items.
It's good to be back. Good to record another one. Fun to wield the old learn me something hammer. Again. We gotta end this.
Okay, let's do it. Larry, would you go ahead and play us out?